There is so much going on right now. There was everything that's going on in Maui and still going on in Maui. Today, the hurricane's actually coming towards Tampa. We lived in Tampa for a little bit, so we know like what happens all around like a hurricane and such. And so I wanted to discuss with you guys, and let's just talk a little bit about what's going on, maybe politically, maybe not politically. I don't know, but I just read a few articles over the past 2 weeks about Biden trying to do lockdowns. Nothing against any of the presidents or anything like that. We live under their authority and we're supposed to follow the Lord. The Lord's my king, right? So, but I've read different articles about having a shutdown again, or different viruses coming back, or whatever's going on. Whatever your reason is for getting prepared, I hope that you get prepared and stay prepared. I find that everyone, just like if a hurricane's coming, it's like everyone dashes to the store and they grab everything real quick and they just want to get like all that stuff. And then when the hurricane's done, it's like they're giving away their food, or they're eating their food, and they never restock that. If you live in a state of always being prepared, there's such a peace. And I think our ancestors really knew that. Our ancestors knew that they were going to go from season to season. And that's just how it worked. They would hunt at this time of season. They would fish at this time of season. They would plant and they would harvest and they would can and they would dehydrate and they would salt their meat and they would, all these things all had a season, and they were always prepared. But more than that, they were prepared and prepared their children mentally, physically, and spiritually to deal with anything that came their way. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hi guys, I'm Mama Bear to Many. If you have not been here before, I'm glad to have you here. If you've been here before, welcome back. I am mom to 14 children. Yes, 14 children, and I am so thankful that I'm mom to them. 14 children, 12 of my children still live at home. So they are from 1 to 22, or 22 to 1, however you want to look at it. And yeah, so we're going to talk about prepping. We live a rather like homesteady type lifestyle, but we did not always live this way. We started looking into homesteading and prepping and all those types of things years ago. And I just want to give you some practical tips today about how I did it on a super cheap budget. And let's talk about that. So what we need as a basic need is water, food, shelter. Water. My first idea for prep is to prep your water. I prefer, or my goal was in the beginning, to get a sustainable source that I would be able to prep my water for long term. If you have a well and could put a hand pump on it, that would be absolutely ideal situation. If not, and you're just trying to quicken it in a hurry, you need to get some water and you need to store it away. Yeah, I'm going to talk basically about number 2, which is food prep, and how to budget both water and food into your budget. So, whatever your budget is, if you can take a huge percentage of that budget, if you're trying to like hurry up and do whatever. I know right now there's so many people that have been asking me so many questions, and I can see them panicking like, how am I going to get ready? Because like, there's going to be a lockdown in so many weeks or next month, or, there's going to be whatever, like right at this moment. Or a lot of people are having an issue with like their husband losing their job, and they're like, my husband's going to lose his job at the end of the month. What do I do? And I'm making this video because so many people have been saying these things on different forums that I've been on, and I just want this here to bless them, because I know in the past I have been blessed because I have been prepared. My husband walked into work one day and lost his job. Not because he did anything wrong, but because his job was outsourced to another company. He had been at that position for 10 years. And I was so thankful that we had the food storage. So let's just say that you have this scenario that you want to try to build this. There's 2 ways that I feel are critical for building a food pantry. One is quick and in a hurry, cheap food storage, which would be like rice, beans, and those types of things. And then the other thing is actually designated meal plans for what you would eat as far as meal plans. Last year I did do a video like on meal plans. I was new at this. Moving you guys back just a little bit. Okay, I was new at this and I'm not quite sure how ideal that I made that video for everyone or how clear I made that video. So I want to go over, first off, your food. If you have, let's just go budget wise, say you had a budget of $100 a week. Snip that down to $75 a week and take that $25 a week just for food storage. Now, I'm this like wild, crazy person where I'm like, I need food storage right now. I think this is a super big emergency. I am okay with eating like simple, super meals for the next 30 days so I can get a base food storage, and I'm completely okay with that. Now, if you're at that point that you need to get a food storage like right now, you need to not think about what your family enjoys and wants to eat, and you don't like beans, and you don't like this, and you don't like that. You know what? You need food in your pantry now. Okay, so the goal is to take a certain amount of money and put it towards food storage. Now, when you're thinking of food storage and you're thinking quick and in a hurry, and cheap, you need to think bulk and you need to think cheap. So things that are cheap. So what I would do is if you had $100 a week, I would take that $25 a week or even $50 a week if you can squeak it out, as much as you can take out of your regular food budget and start building a food pantry. So what I would do week one is I shop monthly, so it's not week one, week two, whatever. But what I would do is during my week one, I would go to Dollar Tree. Now, I love my organics. I love organic beans. I love organic things. But if I am just trying to sustain my family, that's all out the window and I'm looking for cheap foods. Now, protein. I can have rice and beans, which is cheap, or I could have a can of tuna fish. Let me just say, a can of tuna fish is, I don't know about all other places, it is over $1 here. Let's just say it's $1. Now, if I could buy a can of tuna fish for $1 and I could buy a bag of rice for $1, which is 2 pounds of rice for $1, that 2 pounds of rice is going to feed a heck of a lot more people over a longer period of time than a can of tuna fish. So I would go to Dollar Tree and I would say, okay, whatever my budget is for that week, I am going to spend that amount. If it's that $25, you can get a heck of a lot of stuff for $25 at Dollar Tree for a week. They carry things like rice, beans, lentils, split peas. All those things are carried there, usually super cheap, $1.25. I know it went up $1.25. Anyway, those things can also be found at Walmart for around the same price. Rice, beans, lentils, split peas, all those things. I would basically take the first week to focus on those basics. Go. Rice, beans, blah. You know what? If something happened tomorrow, at least you'd be eating a little bit further along than you're eating right now. Get your regular groceries and then get your rice and beans after that. Week 2, I would be focusing on baked goods. So things like flour, sugar, baking soda, baking powder, putting that all together. As I'm doing that, I also would be, whenever we're drinking through, say like a juicy juice, a milk. I know people say don't use milk containers, but let's just say you can use a milk container bleached out and use those types of containers for things like cleaning something, doing dishes, those types of things, okay? Now, as far as water for drinking, each week I would be spending $5 maybe and getting, you can get these big, I don't know, like I know you can get them at Sam's Club and you can get them at our local Hannaford. They have these big jugs, they're 5 gallons of water and they're about $5. I would be getting one of those a week during each of these weeks. Okay, so first week is going to be rice, beans, all that fun stuff. Second week is going to be all your baked goods and that type of stuff. So in my third week, I would be looking at things that would be kind of on like the second level of food storage. And this is the main type of food storage that I like to do. Yes, it's good to have those bulk things, and maybe you're a larger family and you have a smaller budget and you need to do 2 weeks of each of those first 2 things, and that's okay. Maybe your budget won't allow it, but I highly encourage you to eat really simple now so that you can take that money and put it over to food storage so you'll be able to eat later, especially if you're thinking that you're going to need food storage immediately. If you're not worried about it, like that's great. That's the time that you really want to start stocking up, because then you can do things the way that you want to do them. You don't have to be like in a hurry, in a rush, panicky, anything like that. You can stock up the way that you want to stock up. So if you are not in a hurry and you are okay, you feel like you are content with where you're at right now, but you want to know the basics of food storage, I want to talk about how I do meals in food storage. So my week 3 in all of this would be to think out 7 meals. 7 meals that your family enjoys. So these are going to be simple meals. For us, we have meals like, now I've built my food storage really well that I can pretty much make whatever I want, whenever I want to make it, which is such a good feeling, guys. It is such a good feeling to just be content, because we're canning our meat in the fall. We're canning our fruits and vegetables this time of year. And it's such a blessing. We're at the end of like the Every Bit Counts challenge, you know, and it's such a blessing to have all those things already canned, because then I don't have to worry about it. But I do feel your heart, because there was a time that I felt like, oh my goodness, something's going to happen and I need to just hurry up and get food storage. And I hear so many people saying that right now. So I want to just like talk you through these things. So my next thing would be to do 7 meals. Basic meals, guys, okay? So for our family, these things might look like spaghetti and pasta sauce. Maybe you have ground hamburger with that. Maybe you don't have ground hamburger with that. But you could have a box of pasta and a box of meat sauce. If you're gluten-free pasta, gluten-free meat sauce. I understand that it's not the most healthy thing. I understand that maybe you want to have spaghetti, what are they called? Spaghetti squash instead of boxed pasta. But we're talking about food storage. We don't need to have a bunch of squash that are going to go rotten. So just to keep a backup, just to give yourself a little security blanket, just grab some gluten-free pasta, gluten-free sauce or whatever if you're gluten-free, regular pasta, regular sauce if you're not. Okay, so what you would do is say, okay, I want to have, say, a 3-month supply. We're going to eat this once a week. Say you just want a 1-month supply. Let's just start with 1 month, very basic. 1 month supply. We're going to have pasta and sauce once a week for 4 weeks, okay? So you need 4 boxes of pasta, 4 boxes of sauce, 4 containers of sauce. So you're going to grab these things this week and next week. So you can do 3 1 week and 4 the next week. So make these super cheap meals. Super cheap meals. Pasta and spaghetti sauce is one. Another thing that's really super cheap for our family that would be okay for like a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month storage is to get, we would have the beans. We could even buy like refried beans if we wanted to, and to just get corn chips. We can have beans and corn chips and homemade salsa or store-bought salsa. That could be a meal. So you're thinking of, for us, it's totally different now because I can pork, I can hamburger, I can all these things. So it looks entirely different, but shelf stable meals. So for the month of September, I am going to be offering different preparedness once a week. Each of my videos are going to be preparedness type videos. So I'm going to go through a bunch of different meals that you guys will be able to do. But I'm just trying to give you a little bit, a snidbit of what's going to happen over this month, a snidbit of if you need to just watch this video and go and do it right now, then you have a little bit of what's going on. So over the month of September, I'll give you a bunch of meals. I'll show you a bunch of ideas. We're going to do this together. So those are what I'm talking about. Doing 7 meals like that. So over the next 2 weeks, you're going to be buying those meals. I should also mention in your baking week, you really should think about, for me, my oats would go in a baking week. So do we want to eat oats every day? Probably not, but is oats okay for us to eat every day in a situation that like we need to feed people? Absolutely. So I would be getting oats, a container for each week to last the month. So I'm not advocating like buying stores out. That's definitely not what I'm advocating. What I'm saying here is if you feel like you might need some food storage because you have never started food storage yet, it's not too late. Just start. Don't try to think of, I know when I first started, it seemed like so big. It seemed like this huge big plan, like, okay, I need water and I need to get a pump on top of my well. And how am I going to do that? And how does that work? And I don't know how to do that. Okay, so just chill out. You need to start somewhere, and starting here is a great place. Get a bottle of water each week, get a little bit of food each week, and then think about the bigger pictures. You're gonna feel a lot better if you have a little bit of food put by so that you can make wise decisions rather than making decisions out of panic. Okay, so the third, I'm just gonna basically touch on this just a little bit. Being shelter, and I want you guys to start thinking over the month how you're going to cook this food and how you're going to heat your home if it was winter. So think on those things. I'm going to be back throughout the month of September. September is actually National Preparedness Month, so I'm kind of going off of this, but there's also all this stuff like going on out there. So I thought that I would give you this video today so you know what's coming up over the next few weeks. So I'm going to talk about fuel, different ways to heat your home, different alternatives for cooking, all those fun things. So I hope you all have a blessed day. And please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you like videos like this, or if you have pointers or tips that you'd like to share with other people, leave them in the comments below, and I can make sure that those things get out to other people as well, because we're all working together. We're here to take care of our families and to bless our husbands and to honor the Lord with our lives. So yeah, I hope you all have a great day.